Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 13th, 2019 meeting of the Rotterdam Town Board. This evening we had our agenda review, and we adjourned at approximately 6:50 p.m. with a motion by Mr. Christou and a second by Mr. Signor. During the meeting, we did add a order to the agenda. It's order number 1.19, and there should have been copies at the front there, and if you didn't get one at the end of the meeting, I can provide you with one. And we all voted in favor to add that order to the agenda. Okay. So, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Here.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Present.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Present.
Mr. Signor?
Present.
Mr. Tomaso?
Present.
5 here.
Okay, would you all please stand? And Gianna, because you're not going to speak, you have to lead us in the pledge. Okay? Go ahead. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, there are several students in the audience, and as part of your government class, if there's any backup, because what you have in front of you, what you all collected, is basically the summary of our meeting this evening with the resolutions. If you're looking for any other information at the end of the meeting, if you want to come up and ask us, we'll be here for a bit afterwards, okay? You're welcome. So at this time, we'll call for public hearing 1. Ms. Marco.
To repeal the existing code of the Town of Rotterdam, Chapter 31, Ethics and Disclosure, Code of, and replace this code with a new Chapter 31, Ethics Code of. The new code is the Model Code of Ethics as recommended by the New York State Office of Controller and is available at the following website, http://www.osc.ny.us/localgov/pubs/code of ethics.pdf.
Okay, do you have anyone on the...
Yes, I do.
Okay, please call them.
Robert Godlewski.
Bob Godlewski, 1046 Manus Drive. Before I ask any questions, I went to this website, okay? And that's proposed law. What I'm asking is, because I made some comments based on that one, is that the one that's before the board tonight?
It's the one that's before the board tonight is what if you went to this exact link of this PDF, that is what is before the board. It's a version of that one, yes.
Okay.
Give me a
Now,
copy, Mr. Godlewski.
a copy of what?
That link.
I have the link, but may I see what you have? Yes, please.
Okay.
Because I want-
And just you know, you have 4 minutes. I'm not trying to be
Steve,
draconian. We
I
have a lot
know,
of...
if
Wow.
anybody knows the rules, believe me.
I know
it's
you do.
me.
Thank you very much. I
So
appreciate
don't-
that.
And if I talk and you listen,
That's what I do, Bob. You know that.
well, I'm not gonna get into the communication process. I only have 4 minutes. Is this the complete document?
Yes, there was one typographical error, and under purpose, if you will, was between the parentheses, name of municipality was left there, but that's not going to be there when we pass this. But the rest of it is what you should have found online.
It's not the one online.
It is the one that's online. There are sections that are.
I remember. it's
You're
my 4
asking me.
minutes.
You're asking me a question.
3118, when you go online where it says number of members,
Mhm.
it says 3 or 5.
Correct.
All right, this document is not what is represented on this website. And all I'm saying is, all right, for the purpose of public perusal, because it's still not on the town website, because I checked at 6:15, Steve, and you know I do my homework. Now let's get to the point. Here's what I don't like about that. You were on the board in 2001?
No, I was not.
Excuse me, my mistake, Diane was. The current ethics thing was established 18 years ago. What you're proposing to do, and I had to read it twice, you're not amending it, you want to repeal it.
We're replacing what we have.
Right, and
going
what I
with the
don't
state
like,
model.
and what I don't like about that, and I'm not sure, and I would hope that the current board, under the current policy on section, I believe it's 18, all right? It specifically talks about who can be on the board. And it goes into a little thing called, you can have a 3-year term, which this document does not have. You cannot have, it is 3118, establishment of the board, and 3119. And the gentleman who worked on this was Mr. John Mertz.
He was not on the board in 2001.
I understand that, but he was on shortly thereafter. It's my 4 minutes.
5 years.
The reason-
4 minutes is up. I don't mean to.
That's because you would let me speak my piece. As you are well aware, in the whole country, we got a problem with ethics. And I'll be shocked if you'll limit to me 4 minutes on this subject. This proposed document is terrible. It's a copy that this New York State Controller, and we know what a fine job the state government has done on ethics. When the original one was set up, these two sections, 3118 and 3119, are very specific on who can be on this board, on the ethics board. No more than 2 people from one party. You know that, okay? And the other thing is, when it comes to the lawyer, they pick their lawyer. You might appoint them, but they pick them, and the whole purpose of this document, and I gotta give Mr. Mertz a lot of credit, was to keep politics off of the ethics board. The new policy that you proposed, you wanna have 3 people, one of which is a municipal employee. Wrong, and you want the attorney to be appointed by the board. That's like having the fox watching a chicken coop. See, it's my time to
Your
speak.
time is up, Mr. Douglas.
Yes, and guess what? I hope I've made my point,
You made your point, sir.
all right? And you should not close this hearing.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Well, I can tell you're very appreciative.
I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not leaving, I'll be back on the privilege floor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else for public hearing 1? All right, I will make some comments, and I will, unless the board does not want to close this hearing, I will close the hearing. First of all, I don't want to speak to state officials outside of the state comptroller. The state comptroller is, in my opinion, somebody above reproach. He has been out front and trying to do everything that he can in his capacity to combat the spending, ethics violations in the state, et cetera. He's made multiple recommendations. His office has made multiple recommendations. They obviously are the office that oversees even the town of Rotterdam and every other municipal authority in the state of New York outside of the public authorities, which are overseen by the office of, it's escaping me right now, Authorities Budget Office. They oversee a lot of the authorities. And for anyone to make comments regarding someone's, I guess I want to say their, what we intend to do here. What we intend to do here is very simple, is to bring our town ethics code up to state standards. The idea that whether you have 3 people or 5 people is really immaterial. And if you I should say you, if anyone has heard me in the past speak to the point of, or the matter when it came to appointing different individuals to the ethics board, frankly, the former board members that were here that are not here anymore, and I don't want to make light of or make comments in any way from a political perspective, but they promoted people that in one way or another had run for office before. So understand that when we come to appoint people to this board eventually, the idea is not to have anyone who has necessarily run. What I mean by that is that if one of the board members here should be appointed to the Board of Ethics, that's very different than if someone has run for office, in my opinion, and gone in and now wants to be on the Board of Ethics in Rotterdam in order to basically, do something that doesn't lend itself to the business of the town. So I'll leave it at that. I do not agree with Mr. Godlewski's statements. Is also the idea that there were some people that were here that were not here at the time that the law was created. Actually, the original law was created, I believe, in the mid-90s by another administration, and had been then changed over time. Different sections maybe had been changed over time. What we're doing here is attempting to enforce a better ethics code for the town and for our employees, and I'm going to leave it at that. So,
Mr. Supervisor, just a point of confirmation. This update, I'll call it, puts us more in line with other municipalities of our size across the state as well, correct?
Yes.
Other municipalities have adopted this same method and the same approach. And again, I also view it as bringing it up to state standards and making it consistent with state standards. There's no ulterior motive here, as much as people want to create that.
okay, anyone else want to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time from the board? Anyone else want to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Anyone else like to be heard on public hearing 1 at this time? Okay, I'll declare public hearing 1 closed at this time. Ms. Marco, public hearing 2.
To repeal the existing code of the Town of Rotterdam, Chapter 225, Records Public Access to, and replace this code with a new Chapter 225, Records Public Access to. The new code is the model rule for public agencies as recommended by the New York State Department of State, and it is available at the following website, http://www.dos.ny.gov/COOG/model regs _public access store records.html. There's no read that's on that.
Okay.
It's, Mark, I believe you forgot the S on the HTTPS.
Okay.
Duly noted.
Thank you. No, thank you. Well,
And so anyone from the board on public hearing 2? Anyone in the audience, public hearing 2? Okay. Anyone else on public hearing 2?
He is too close.
Anyone else in public hearing 2? Okay, declare public hearing 2 closed at this time. Now, Ms. Markle, we're going to go into general rules for the public comment privilege of the floor. And please, what I'll do is, because we have several people that want to speak tonight, and that's great. But what I will do is I'll try to time you and get you as close to 4 minutes as I can. When I raise my hand the first time, it'll be about 3 minutes. So just so you know, so that you're not shocked if I go like this and you have to stop mid-sentence, okay? So let's call up the first person.
Michael Madonna?
Good evening. Mike Madonna. I live at 98 Pansy Street, Schenectady. And I'm here to speak against the storage store that's coming, proposed coming to Gillen Avenue. Right off the bat, for myself, I'm looking at how much of the noise and the traffic congestion that's going to bring to the neighborhood. We have a quiet neighborhood, and right now I think that's going to add to a lot of how it, traffic-wise, and noise. Excuse me. Also, I like to fight against the small businesses that it's going to affect. There's several that's on the street there that these people have came and established their business and is doing well, and to drop this big corporate business right in there right in the center section between several different businesses that it has the potential to affect. I don't think that's fair, and I think that should be held under consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
Thank you, sir.
Skip Francis?
Skip's going to talk about something else. Let's stick.
Oh.
You know what? Let's stick to the stewards.
I'm
If
sorry.
we could, yeah. You mind, Skip? We'll have you last. Skip's here to talk about the.
Diane, you
Who's next, Ms. Marco?
I wrote on here too.
Yeah, I was gonna have you come next.
Okay.
Bob Godlewski?
What does it say? Different subject. Clear your minds of all nasty thoughts. As you're all aware, the governor of this state is trying to legalize recreational marijuana. I, for one, as a parent, as a grandparent, think that's wrong. As you might not be aware, the Sheriff's Association has taken a position on it. I have a document here that I'm going to give to the town clerk. The New York State PTA Association, it's got a website you can go to, they're dead against it. I would ask this town board, even though the decision to allow it to happen rests with the county, because I heard some of their comments that didn't make my day, that you send a resolution to the state governor and the county, we don't need this in Rotterdam. Now, building on that, I went to the town code, did a research. As far as I can tell, our town code has nothing on distributing medical marijuana or recreational marijuana. There's nothing in there. My fear is, if it's passed, in a couple of months or whatever, somebody comes before this board, there's nothing on the record to control it. There was a good article in the Times Union a couple of weeks ago, the town of Clifton Park, and their infinite wisdom 4 years ago, creating a zoning for that. I will give that to you. I ask that you review this, and please give it your careful consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Mr. Dixon?
Good evening, my name is Xavier Dixon. I reside at 2894 Gilland Avenue, and I'm here to oppose the new steward shop that they're so interested in building on our street. For one, I'd like to agree with my fellow Rotterdam townsperson. I do think that it will bring a certain influx of traffic that I personally would not like. I enjoy my quiet neighborhood, as I'm sure everybody does. I mean, once the summer comes around, there are enough parties, things like that we have to worry about being, staying up late, having to worry about the noise. Like, we got work in the morning. I like my quiet neighborhood. Secondly, as a lot of people don't know, people sometimes classify Stewart's as a small business. Stewart's has around 337 stores, an annual revenue of $1.5 billion, and 30 million net worth as a whole that they're probably going to spend on building new stores alone this year. I personally think that a store like that really doesn't need to be in our neighborhood because, again, it would affect small businesses. There's a study that actually shows that businesses who employ more than 500 people actually slow down economy growth. Reason being, they usually hire people for a shorter amount of times compared to smaller businesses, and they also don't give as many hours. So I've looked up people who work at Stewart's, and these are their own employees saying that they don't have enough money or don't get enough money from their job to feed their families, things like that. Also, the promise that Stewart's can give about saying that it'll bring jobs to Rotterdam cannot be guaranteed because, as I'm sure you guys know, what was it, the 60s or something, we passed anti-discrimination laws, right? You can't hire somebody, or excuse me, you can't not hire somebody just because they don't live in Rotterdam. So unless they're willing to break those laws and say, hey, you know what, we're only hiring Rotterdam people, there is no guarantee that those jobs will go to Rotterdam citizens. I've met people I work in Troy at the Arsenal. I've met people at the Stewart's up the street from me who they live in Schenectady, right? But they work all the way out in Troy. There's no guarantee that it would bring jobs to this town. So I just wanted to address that because again, it would put a lot of good businesses out of work because they do have the money to where they are able to lower their prices to sort of push small businesses into unfortunately shutting down and things like that. Also another thing, big businesses. I don't know if you guys have ever went into a Stewart's recently, but every time I go into a Stewart's, I see the same thing. Same layout, same prices. There's also the same study that I'd be happy to show any of you after this meeting's over. It shows that big businesses don't like to innovate a lot. They don't like to create new things. And personally, I don't want to see just some same old Stewart's, right, that we have literally half a mile away. Right? There's no reason that there needs to be that one within such a close vicinity when we're literally getting the same thing that you could if you just take a little drive down the block. Also, the last thing I wanted to point out was Rotterdam. I have not lived here for long. I've lived here for about 5-6 years maybe. I came up here for high school, go Mohan, state champs. But one thing I just want to point out is this town has a certain aesthetic. I grew up in the Bronx, in the ghetto, a very unfortunate situation. But one thing that I can say that I'm proud of is when I come to Rotterdam, everybody knows each other. I can go into Mr. Arshad's store and he'll greet me by my name, shake my hand, ask me how my day is going. He'll ask me how's my military career, how's my college career, how things are going, and he'll greet every one of his customers by their name, and he'll make sure everybody's having a good day. That's never happened to me at a Stewart's, ever. I've never gone into a Stewart's and felt like, hey, you know what? This is a place that belongs here. This is a place that I know I can trust. And I like that with my businesses, especially when they're in a close vicinity to my home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
Thank
Thanks
you
for your
very
service.
Thank you for your service as well.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much, sir.
Roxanne Hewer?
Good evening, members of the board. I'm here to protest having Stewart's moved in. I was here not more than 4 years ago protesting the same thing for CVS. It's a different board, same problem. We have a really nice small town. We like it that way. We always have. That's why we live here. Unfortunately, corporate seems to think that we're an open basket. They can come in and push everyone around and get what they want. We have small businesses here that have been here as long as I've lived here, and that's almost 20 years. At this point in time, do we really need a Stewart's? Do we need another coffee shop? Do we need another convenience store? Do we need another gas station? We have Quick Pick, that's our convenience store. We have an ice cream parlor, we don't need Stewart's for that. We have businesses here that fill our needs. We don't need Stewart's. The board may need their tax money, but at this point in time, you're going to be damaging your tax base when people move out because it's so crowded. The noise, the people, the fact that the town seems to ignore what its people really want. Yes, the money is great. Stewart's is going to come in and make a beautiful building. And yay, the taxes. Oh, our taxes will go down. Just like our taxes went down when they put Stewart's in, or CVS in. They told us all the same lies. We're going to hire people in the town. We're going to lower your taxes. I didn't see any of that happen. And yet I deal with the traffic and the noise and the people that come and go from that spot. We're still going to end up dealing with the same thing. I'm hoping that this board has a little more sense than the last board and will rethink their position on letting Stewart's come in. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Ma'am, thank you so much.
Ashad?
Good evening. At this time, my name is Arshad Bhatt, by the way, and I own Quick Pick. People know me by the name of Money. At this time, I will not say something about my store. I have enough people, they are saying about me, and I appreciate about that. Now, the thing is, I lived here for 20 years, same like Jay said, and I thought I'm part of this community. People know me well. My kids goes with your kids, and they are friends too. Now, when I invest in this town, I came from New York City as Mr. Dixon came after 9/11. And I thought this is my town. I bought property, I bought business. I start living like you guys living, like American dream. You know, this is my town and I'm living well, good. I work hard, I deserve it, I earn it. Now when I'm 62 years old, some corporation comes in, they offer me, I told you that, they offer me, oh, we want to buy your store. No, I'm not selling my store. Why should I sell it? Oh, we want to open up. Okay, you want to open up, give me money. But no, we just want to buy your building. We're not paying for the business. I don't think so, sir. I work here hard. I pick up this business from bottom to up. Now, when you're saying the numbers, you know that you have done the homework. The numbers are good. You are trying to get my business for free. No, it's not going to happen. Then they threaten me, oh, we go next door, we're going to close it. If you don't believe this, a couple months ago on Broadway, J. Van Winkle, the blue guy, used to be mine. I came over there first. Then I came to Quebec. He's closed because Stewart came right next to them. They opened a big shop and he lost his business. He had to close. And same thing, they're trying to come in between me and Snow. And there's Nikki P too. They are on jeopardy too. And I think Country Farm, which is on Gilderland Avenue, he will feel some heat too. Maybe 5 corner, Mike and Valero, everybody. I have 2 guys from the small business, Mr. Joe and Ever. I think they should be on my side, not the corporation side. They should be, we vote you guys, we bring you over here to help us, not to throw me out. If somebody is coming, threatening me, and I'm taking off, I will go to Joe, I will go to Evan, they will protect me. And now, I hope everybody understand what I come to do. We don't want to do it. This is a residential area. All kids, they're playing outside. There's no map here, but you have seen map, I have seen map. They have 2 openings on Lilac Street. 2 30-feet openings. Which means Gilderland, they will get in and they will go to Lilac. And from Lilac, they will go to Willow, Floral, Walnut, Beverly. All these streets going to be crowded. All this traffic they're trying to divert. These streets are not made for this traffic. I don't think so. In the morning, I don't know if you have seen the school buses, how the traffic is. I see every day when the school buses are picking up kids and everybody stop over there. You guys may be sleeping at that time, but I see every morning, 5 days, yeah. I don't think it's a good idea. Stewart is trying to throw us out, and I don't think it's a good idea. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your.
Sir, quick question. I apologize. How long has the store been open? How long have you been running the store? I know, and forgive me also for how long you said you've been here,
Okay.
but how long have you been running the store?
I've been in this store for 16 years. Previous owner had for 30 years. And then they had bonfire, I don't know for how long, right?
Okay, yeah. I remember when it was bonfire.
I think it's over half a century.
Yeah,
It's been over half a century.
Since the 70s.
Yeah.
Location of the other day.
And on top of that, I forgot to mention people, older people, they tell me this is wetland. They can't build it over here. This is wetland. I don't know what does that mean now. You guys know what.
I know about wetland, but I know that there's a potential for zone change, and that's what would come potentially before the board.
And at the last, I think I sent you a link. I don't know if you see it.
Yes.
And I have 700 signatures with me. People who are supporting me at this time, they don't want Stewart. If 700 signatures mean to you something, it's up to you. I can give you signatures.
That's right, but Ali, is that a copy or is that the original?
We can print that again.
Well, no, what I would ask you to do is bring it to the town hall in the morning instead of, and we can make a copy of that if that's okay with you. I would rather you do that than you see the original is always in your hands, okay? If you don't mind.
Okay. All
Can we
right.
do that?
All right. Okay. Now I have one complaint.
Do you want to take it now, Ms. Mark? Okay, so, all right, that's fine. All right, I just don't know if you want to do that.
One copy of this, other one I have.
What do you want a copy of, Ali?
This one.
The last one I had, it was not copied.
This one here once.
You want to copy
Just
that?
the one? So these two? These are good? These are good to keep? Okay. And then I can give you another set. I can give you another set. All right. Thanks.
Okay. I have one complaint now. The last meeting we were in, that was for planning commission. John Denny, he mentioned first, the meeting it was 7 o'clock. We came in 7 o'clock, 7:15. They told, oh, 7:30 is meeting. Okay, we were waiting. 45 minutes later, they told us, oh, this meeting is not for Stewart. While they had Stewart back, Tyler was there, Caprera family was sitting back there, but he's trying to tell us, oh, this is not for Stewart. If anybody want to say something, this is not the right forum. And I mentioned these email, oh no, this is not the fact. Before they get any opinion from public, they pass it, all voting, then anybody want to say something. I mean, what is good for them now?
So let me explain that if I could, okay? So when someone comes in with a concept plan, they come in, they make that presentation. Later on, if they make a presentation that has to do with the actual recommendation for the zone change, Ali, that's when you would have an opportunity for that. You know, at that point, it was just a preliminary, site plan. That's the process. And then what would happen is if the planning commission gives a recommendation to the town board, whether it's positive or negative, in other words, whether they say, yes, we think the zone change should occur, or no, the zone change should not, the town board may or may not take action on that recommendation, again, positive or negative. Typically, if the recommendation is positive, the town board would take some action on that. Does it mean that the town board would vote yes or no? That's a whole separate set of meetings, okay? So know that in the very near future, should that become a project where we get an application in, the application is submitted to downstairs, that the zone change is recommended or requested by the applicant, then we would have more public hearings, okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, one last point and I will be out.
okay.
Like last time, we had meeting on 23rd, and Lady Sandra told us the concern she had, these two were gonna close that building, and this will be same thing that happened on Broadway, same thing happened on Fort Hunter. Fort Hunter Road, when they close it, I tried to buy that building to open a gas station. I think I told you that.
Yes, yeah.
So first thing they tell you, you cannot open a gas station, you cannot open a convenience store, no coffee shop, no pizza shop, no retail shop. Big corporation, they can open whatever they want. In between, right next to my store, no problem. The other guy who just spent like $500 million last year, it's a local gas station, he is closed, no problem. But you cannot open a store which is like 5-6 blocks from there, because it's going to be competition for us.
Is that an order on the owner of that property, or did that come from the town?
No, it's for the property. I was trying to buy that property
Yeah.
to open a
That's a
gas
deed
station.
restriction on that property.
Yes.
Or they just said, we're not gonna sell to.
Right,
Right.
what, was that the same corporation? Is it the Cumberland Farm Corporation? or-
That was
Remember,
Cumberland.
never owned it, yeah.
Cumberland.
Was it, I'm sorry, it's saying it's still owned by Cumberland Farms, is that right?
Yes.
All right, and so basically, they're creating a covenant not to compete. They
Yes.
don't want you open
Yes.
up anything that's gonna compete.
But they can come to you, they can compete you. Then, I mean, if they, Stewart coming right next to Quick Break,
Right.
what's gonna happen Quick Break? They're gonna close Quick Break.
Right.
What's gonna happen to Stewart? They're gonna lose the business.
Elliot, I apologize, but I'm gonna get to other people here, and I wanna thank you for coming here.
Thank you.
And I wanna say this to you, I've been in your store for many years, and we know each other well, and.
Not only you,
I know
like
that,
Dixon said,
I
his
know.
father, his mother.
everybody.
I know
My
three
mother too,
generations.
let's not talk about my mother. You know, my mother too, but let's just go forward and know that whatever happens in the process,
I know
that
this lot of-
that there will be, that everyone will know what's happening, okay? Thank you very much for your time.
So thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Ama? I'm sorry.
Donna?
I'm sorry.
name is Amna. I reside at 1844 Fierro F. Arshad, or Ali, is my dad. We've been in this town for, like he said, basically my whole life almost, my sister's whole life just about. He's had this business for over a decade, and he's put literally his heart, soul, blood, tears, everything into this business for the sake of our family, for the sake of us kids having a brighter future, and I could not be more thankful for that. As far as the Stewart's Corporation goes, last week or the week before when we were here for the Planning Commission meeting, they went out of their way to establish the fact that they will absolutely not be closing the location that is a mile down the street from us. I think that just further emphasizes the fact that there's no point in having two Stewart shops open right next to each other for the sake of taking down a local business that's been here forever. So I don't see a point to it. There's a lot of complaint about the runoff in the area, a lot of complaint about the noise levels, a lot of complaint about just being a bad area overall. If my dad didn't sell to Stewart's for the sake of the community and the sake of his business, I don't see why we should be taken down by that same corporation. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Miriam?
We didn't mean
I'm
to
sorry.
interrupt. Sorry, she doesn't want to speak.
She doesn't want to speak. Okay.
Sure?
Let's see. Bernard Mastriani?
Good evening, and thank you for hearing me, 18 Memory Lane. I moved in, I'm not going to talk about what's already been talked about, even though I did want to do that, but I moved into the area, and I've been living along Gilman Avenue since 1976. Very happy to be here. My family's very happy to live here. Altamont Avenue, we do have a main artery already for big businesses. I always looked at Gilman Avenue as a secondary street, mainly residential. I really am seriously concerned about the impact that Stewart's will have in the area. I go to different Stewart's. I feel that there's enough of them in the area for what the need is. They provide the need. And I'm just concerned, I'm concerned about businesses that were already established and that they're going to be adversely impacted by them. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments.
Lynn Capper? I'm sorry. Bless you.
Hi, I'm Lynn Caffer. I live at 1034 Beverly Street. My big thing is you people got our hands. You are going to protect us, I hope. We have water problems. You're going to make traffic problems. 2003, they tried to build a house next to me. I got engineers where I forgot it, I'm sorry, but I'll bring it up when it comes up. I got engineers reports saying they went through this over here, the town hired them, that all the infrastructure behind my house, Beverly Street, everything over there, if you know that area, it's low. Everybody pumps, everybody's septic. You got water, it's going to become, I don't care what you're going to put tanks in the ground, you're going to take up all this water. Oh, where's all this water going to go? You're going to contain it in the, it's not going to happen. All that water is going to it's going to go somewhere else. You got Beverly Street. I live on Beverly Street. It's a drag strip. We've already tried. They just paved it 2 years ago, maybe. You would not believe the people that fly down that street. There's no stop signs. There's one yield sign and a stop sign, and away they go here. You got up and it's just. I can't see you people. I'm hoping that you people are going to take care of us because we have water problems and we have traffic problems already. And the Stewart's is not going to help it. It is not going to help it. So I'm hoping I'm giving you people, you're in our, you're going to help us, I hope, and say we don't need it. We don't need it. All the other people have already talked and, they know. They no one wants this thing. It's no good. And if you do this, okay, now you got this zone, you're going to change the zoning. This is what this is about. You're going to change this residential. If this doesn't happen, is this going to go back to residential?
It's zone, I think, B1 right now. It's business, that area is business
It's
zone.
business already?
Yeah, even many, basically the homes that are on Gillen Avenue are also zone business. The properties are zone business.
Yeah,
Of
I'm
one
just
kind
saying
or
a couple
another.
houses on the
And
backside.
in different zones, you can do different things. So obviously, if someone buys a home and they want to do something different, they still have to come to the town hall and, come to the Department of Public Works to still put through an application. But this is actually changing the zoning from B1 to B2. That's what they would have to do there in order for there to be that type of business. Yeah.
Right. Because and I just hopefully that I'm just here, hopefully that you guys will do the right thing for us people. If you get time, walk the area. Everybody walks. Take a walk.
I don't fly down your
see our little town a little bit.
I don't fly down your street, but I do cut through there periodically.
So you know.
But I do not.
You know
I live on
it's
Paul Avenue right here, so I come right the back way.
Exactly.
I don't speed.
But if I live right
I know
on
where
corner
you are.
of
I know where
Beverly
you are.
and you.
Yep.
It's wicked.
But I know
between them and Adirondack Tire testing their brakes, it's.
Oh, they come down your street.
Oh yeah, that's where they test their brakes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, they just zoom around corners,
Right
test their
down.
brakes.
Yeah, that makes sense, but I mean.
Because there ain't no stop signs. There ain't a one. Not a one.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Take care of us, please.
Thank you.
Stephen Bren?
Hi, Stephen Brem, 2961 Gilliland Avenue, and I'm here to oppose the Stewart's that is planned for Gilliland Avenue. My thought is that the narrow streets that are between Nicky P's and what is AC Body Works cannot handle cars going in and out, along with the traffic that comes in on Nicky P's on a Thursday and Friday. It also, you have an odd intersection where Sunrise comes into Gilliland Avenue, which is going to make a lot of confusion if you have people driving in and out of Stewart's. You don't have people driving in and out of AC Body Works. They only go in one way, they come out one way. AC Body Works is kind of a low-impact small business. They're open 8 to 4. And they're not open on the weekends unless they're bringing in a wrecked vehicle. So it doesn't disrupt people's lives. Stewart's is high impact. It's open, 4 to 12, midnight, 4 all the time. So there are cars in and out all the time. Lights are gonna be on all the time. And like as everybody else, it's a disruption to the neighborhood. Now, if we were to come up with a plan, like Stewart's wants a big white store, brand new big store over on Helderberg or Altamont or Curry, wherever their address is. If we could come up with a plan with, like say the construction company that's there, if they're a low impact business, they're 8 to 4. Why don't we have them come to AC Body Works, and then Stewart's can buy their property, and then they can build one of their great big huge white stores and stay in their area where they're already high impact, and then we stay low impact, and it's better for the neighborhood. That's all I have to say. Okay?
Thank you very much. Thanks for your comments.
Skip Francis?
Okay. Skip is not going to talk about Stewart's, but he's going to talk about some other stuff.
Just before Mr. Francis speaks, I want to thank everybody from that neighborhood who has come to speak on behalf of not only their feelings, but for their local support of their local business. I would encourage you all to continue to attend any planning commission meetings or any ZBA meetings, zoning board of appeals meetings that have to do with this. And I'm going to come visit you over at Kip.
I already do, Evan, just so you know.
There we go. Mr. One Up. Okay. Sorry, seriously.
Oh, tough crowd.
In some ways it is. Mr. Francis, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Skip Francis. I'm with Barton Lev Judas, and the town has retained our firm to design the site, the facilities, building, and the environmental permitting related to the new town highway garage.
Skip, you mind raising the mic so that you can be heard
Is that
better?
better?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, please.
So I wanted to just give an introductory presentation to the board. Tonight, you have a resolution before you for a seeker decision, Resolution 46.19. We prepared the documents to support that decision, but I want to give an introductory presentation to the board as to what we've developed thus far in hopes as we advance towards site plan approval for this project that would benefit both the town itself with a new facility, as well as the property owner with some matters that he's trying to address as well. As you all know, the existing town's facilities for highway garage has exceeded its useful life, and this property is available, and we've developed a preliminary site plan here. We have our facilities folks have met with the highway committee and the highway superintendent to have a workshop meeting to determine the size of the building, which is all encompassing about 26,000 square feet, with some outdoor covered storage for storage of out-of-season equipment. There's also an exterior wash bay. There's space inside enough for particularly winter vehicles to be stored overnight, being ready for the wee hours of the morning to hit the roads, as well as the maintenance bays inside as well. Also, offices, employee gathering spaces, necessary restrooms and locker rooms as well. So that space is in concept form right now, represented on this plan. That said, this facility will also have a salt barn. The town had applied for grant funding last year for a salt barn. Unfortunately, it was not awarded, but we have an opportunity to reapply for that. So that would be on this facility site as well. And the third thing would be to bring in this town's existing yard waste tub grinder unit. The highway superintendent was kind enough to give us the dimensions of that and the space needed to begin reinstate the curbside pickup in April. So the priority here is to get a site plan approval, as we're working through, that would benefit the following actions. The town and the property owner can then proceed with a land transaction in hopes that would occur sometime in the month of April, so the town can commence the yard waste pickup. The second benefit would be the town can proceed with authorizing design, development, construction drawings, and for contractor bidding and construction of the new facility. The third benefit would be the building inspector can then authorize for a demolition permit for building number 28, which is this hatched area out here. This building still is on the site, but the property owner would take that down upon issuance of a demolition permit, excuse me. And the property owner can then use a pre-approved site plan from the town to facilitate the land transfer, stabilizing the zone steep slopes that are there now, stabilizing the soils in spring conditions, and which would help the owner relieve himself of some local, state, and agency violations that he has. Quick summary for the subdivision. There is a subdivision application in the planning board for consideration next week. This parent parcel is 22 acres. What's represented on the plan is about 8.2 acres. It goes from the right side of the plan all the way over just to the far edge of the plan. That subdivision of 8.2 acres for the planning board to occur next week from a parent parcel of about 22 acres. The site plan itself has, speaking about the circulation of things, commercial driveway entrances that would allow an 18-wheel tractor trailer vehicle to come in, circulate the site. The 18-wheeler would be either for a heavy equipment low-boy trailer, delivery or pickup of town equipment. Also, the town is contracted with a yard waste hauler that comes and picks up material processed by the town on an 18-wheeler. So you can pull in, be loaded by the front end loader from the yard waste that's been processed here, and then circulate out of the site, and equipment can come in and get dropped off into the garage and so forth and circulate through. There's sufficient parking for the employees that have been given to us by the highway superintendent, and we've developed an efficient site with 3-to-1 grass slopes no extra cost for retaining walls or anything, but it's a mowable slope. It would stabilize. Slopes that are there now are much steeper than the town would desire at this point. So, and we also have stormwater bioretention areas to make use of the sandy soils out there for recharging of the groundwater in this area. So, that said, those are the highlights. Does the board have any questions? Or?
Just one thing I want to clarify. So, you know, we continue to do the curbside pickup. That does not stop. What we have unfortunately not been able to do was have private haulers basically come in, you know, and landscapers, et cetera, to the site where we are now. So once this is developed out, we will have that option again to have people come in to bring their, you know, with a permit to bring their waste there to that facility, to this new facility. Okay. Well,
I have some questions. How much usable area of the 8.2 acres do you have carved out there?
Right now, the usable area is about 5.5 acres, which is right to the limits of the sanitary sewer easement. There's existing sanitary sewer line that transects the property. That's the limit of the usable area. The remaining 2.2 acres is available for maybe future use, but it's on the docket for purchase. But it has right now extremely steep slopes, and it is heavily wooded and mature vegetation on it, but we weren't proposing to disturb that. at this time.
The seller had proposed a different site plan, correct? That didn't meet our comfort level as far as slope. They would propose something with 2-to-1 versus 3-to-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
I believe, and don't quote me, but part of the motivation for the price that the seller has given us had to do with removing of material. Does this allow him to remove the same amount of material? And if he was willing to do the retaining wall, is that an option for us? And go to a different kind of slope?
If he wanted to do the retaining wall for you, yes, that would be an option. And I believe at this time, I haven't done a comparative cut fill analysis between the two, but I believe this would be less material
Okay.
than the other plan.
Skip, quick question. Again, forgive me because I forgot, because I know you and I, we spoke about the dimensions here. What's the proposed square footage for the new garage? And if you, excuse me, if you remember what our current garage is square foot?
The proposed garage is 26,000 square feet. The existing garage, I don't recall what it is, but
Okay.
I think it's less than 10.
Okay.
Question, Larry, does this proposal, this size building, allow you to have all your trucks indoors?
I don't know what's right up on there, but when given them description, somewhat of design that was given to them from our office, I don't know how close they are to that.
So to confirm your,
That building, is that like 120 by 200?
The inside garage space is 100 by 200.
Yeah.
And
Not including the offices, the employee spaces, and the
So-
sheds,
It's like
2
double
yards.
the size of our facility.
so to confirm, Larry, your goal is to have all our vehicles indoors, correct?
Yeah, most generally, the ones that we use during the winter time, during the season. And to protect some of them that need to stay out of the winter, you know.
And that reduces, and Larry, that reduces the need for us to have to, reduces the need for us to have to garage some of those at other locations than on site, correct?
Right. That's the whole thing, get everything on site.
Yep.
So for emergency uses, we're a quick facility, we have it available.
Even some of those vehicles can be stored outside, but we're more, and also the ones that we're concerned about keeping inside, we'll be able to do, and won't have to worry about having to store them anywhere else.
Right.
If you have other questions at the end, let's address Larry at the microphone so
Okay.
that everybody can hear what he's saying, if that's all right, at the end of the meeting.
Sorry, Larry, I didn't want to turn this into a lounge act.
That's all right. No. Can you leave us that, Skip, or not? If Larry wants to have, can Larry have that copy? All right. So Larry, if you want to take that with you and you can look at it, but it does look, he said it was 26,000, did you say 26,000 square feet?
Yes.
You know, the building itself.
Double the size of our garage
Yeah,
right
easily,
now.
yeah. And more useful, right? You have lifts there. We don't have lifts in the highway garage right now. There's just a whole host of other equipment and safety, if you will, aspects of the building that we don't have currently, that will be addressed with this new facility. Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Francis, or you can call him?
Mr. Francis, I'm not sure if this is something that's covered on your part, and I know we did have some meetings, so I got a lot of information all at once. When it comes to site stabilization, what oversight is there from government agencies for that?
When the species permit is filed for the site contractor here, it would be the agency of DEC to be over that.
And do we know what their requirements are for the grading and the site stabilization?
Yes.
And is there a difference between us as a municipality going in and making those site stabilizations versus having a private person do it prior to us purchasing the property?
It's best handled by the property owner itself. It's difficult if there is, he has a species permit already in place, which he has violations against. DEC doesn't favor another entity coming in and either getting a separate permit, an overlapping permit, to work on the same site to fix violations from someone else on a previous permit. So we're trying to, the goal is to get the property owner to prepare the site that is consistent with a plan that is satisfactory to the town, that stabilizes their sites and stabilizes soil, stabilizes the slopes under their existing permit. Then they can close their permit, satisfying the agencies that have issued the violations to them, close their permit, and then with this new project and the contractor letting and bidding process, open a new land disturbance permit. And the town would then have its own permit to go forward with.
Would that
That's
change
not
our
allowed.
time frame in being able to get in there and start our transfer facility work in April?
It should not, because in a meeting with the property owner, he said he was amenable to the idea of allowing that to commence, provided there was an agreement in place with the town.
Okay. And do we know how long those violations have been pending?
I think one was as late as October of 18. Fall of 2018.
Okay.
It's Skip, DEC wants a 3-to-1, right?
Yes.
That's the recommendations, 3-to-1 on the grid? Okay.
Would they accept 2-to-1 with a retaining wall?
I think it's 3-to-1. They can add a retaining wall, but otherwise they want mowable slopes. If it's any steeper than that, they want some sort of slope armor or the previous applicant had, or the property owner had proposed putting a rock line slope at a steeper grade, but capping it with rock and riprap style rock. So that would be an expense associated with that too.
So it's fair to say whatever we decide, whether it's your plan, the developers, the property owner's plan, or something in the middle, it still has to meet approval by DEC?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Skip, if you know, not to put you on the spot, if it were to be remediated to a 3-to-1, do you have any idea like how long it would take just to do that? So we can get an idea of like, you know, if we're able to meet our goals, you know, by April or do whatever it is. Just from your experience, say, you know, without holding you to it or pressing you to it, you say, listen, you know, if heavy equipment came in and had to change the grade on this, you know, our best guess might be, you know, I can do it in 2 weeks, I can do it in a month.
Working with what the site is like now, presently, and in good weather conditions, which is not what we have here in February, it's probably 3 to 4 weeks of work by a contractor to move the soil, stabilize it, bench in the 3-to-1 slopes is required.
Okay, so when the conditions are optimal, it would take about 3 to 4 weeks to do it?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else on?
No.
No? Okay. All right, let's move into order number 1.
The Town Board of the Town of Rotterdam adopts Order Number 1 of 2019, acknowledges all applicable provisions of New York State Town Law, Article 12, and calls for a public hearing to be held on Wednesday, February 27, 2019, at 7 p.m. at the John F. Kervin Government Center, Town Hall, 1100 Sunrise Boulevard, Rotterdam, New York, 12306, upon adoption of a proposed local law of the year 2019 for the following purpose: establishment of Extension Number 1 of Sewer District Number 7, Hamburg Street Sewer District. The proposed Extension Number 1 of Sewer District Number 7, Hamburg Street Sewer District consists of the following parcels: 2200 Helderberg Avenue, tax map number 71.5-1-5.111, 2188 Helderberg Avenue, tax map number 71.5-1-5.112, 2196 Helderberg Avenue, tax map number 71.5-1-7.1, 2208 Helderberg Avenue, tax map number 71.5-1-8.112, Helderberg Avenue, tax map number 71.5-1-8.111, 2204 Helderberg Avenue, tax map number 71.5-1-9 and 400 Road, tax map number 71.9-2-21.11. The maximum proposed cost for this project is $1,978,000. All costs associated with the design and construction of the proposed wastewater infrastructure will be solely the responsibility of Lisi Senior Living LLC. To connect to Extension 1 of Sewer District Number 7, Hamburg Street Sewer District, there currently is a one-time $35 sewer lateral inspection fee, as well as a $500 sewer connection fee per dwelling unit, a $750 connection fee per apartment or condominium, and a $1,000 connection fee for commercial usage for properties within established sewer district that connect to the collection system. Connection to the proposed district shall require the installation of a lateral by the property owner. The creation of the district extension will lower the annual operation and maintenance costs to the existing users in the district. The town welcomes the public to attend this hearing for a final opportunity to comment. The approval of the state comptroller is not required for the establishment of the proposed sewer district, and the town resolution establishing the proposed district is subject to permissive referendum as provided by New York State town law. The public presentation of the map, plan, and report in accordance with New York State town law related to the creation of the proposed Extension Number 1 of Sewer District Number 7, Hamburg Street Sewer District, was filed with the town clerk on February 5th, 2019, and has been and continues to be available for public inspection in the office of the Rotterdam Town Clerk during regular business hours.
Okay. So we have order number 1.19 to vote on this evening. May I have a motion, please, for order 1.19?
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Mr.
I'll second.
Signor, second by Mr. Christou. Is there anyone on the question? Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes. Okay, resolution, or excuse me, order 1.19 passes and establishes a public hearing for our next meeting in February 27th here at the John F. Kervin Government Center. Okay, thank you. All right, let's go into the resolutions. Resolution 4219, please.
Adopt the meeting minutes from the January 23rd, 2019 town board meeting.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Miller Herrera. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Markle, call the roll, please.
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 4219 passes. Resolution 40.
For public hearing to be held on Wednesday, February 27th, 2019 at 7 p.m. at the John F. Kervin Government Center, Town Hall, 1100 Sunrise Boulevard, Rotterdam, New York, 12306, upon adoption of a proposed local law of the year 2019 for the following purpose: to amend the existing code of the Town of Rotterdam, Chapter 47, Officers and Employees, to add Article 2 fingerprinting and background checks.
May I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou, second, please.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Guidarelli. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Markowitz, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 4319 passes. Resolution 4419.
Call for public hearing to be held on Wednesday, February 27, 2019, at 7 p.m. at the John F. Kirvin Government Center, Town Hall, 1100 Sunrise Boulevard, Rotterdam, New York, 12306, for the following purpose. Request by Clotterkill Volunteer Fire Company Incorporated, Rotterdam Fire District Number 1, to increase their contract to the amount of $42,000 annually.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Signor. Is there a second?
I'll
Seconded by Mr. Christou. Is anyone on the question to be heard? No? Okay, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, Resolution 4419 passes. Resolution 4519.
Adopt local law number 2 of the year 2019 for the following purpose: to amend Chapter 265 Property Maintenance, Section 265-4, duty to maintain property, and to add K, unregistered motor vehicles. Public hearing was called for at the Town Board meeting of October 24, 2018. Public hearing was held at the Town Board meeting of November 14, 2018.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christou. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Miller Herrera. Anyone on the question? Just on the question, what I'd like to do is just read what that section will say as amended. So section 265-4, duty to maintain property, number K, or letter K. No inoperative or unlicensed motor vehicle shall be parked, kept, or stored in open site on any premises, and no vehicle shall at any time be in a state of major disassembly, disrepair, or in the process of being stripped or dismantled. Painting of vehicles is prohibited unless conducted inside an approved spray booth. And number 1, exception, a vehicle of any type is permitted to undergo major overhaul, including body work, provided that such work is performed inside a structure or similarly enclosed area designed and approved for such purposes. And exception number 2, exception, properties located within Schenectady County Agricultural District may have one unlicensed motor vehicle that is utilized in an agricultural operation. That is where we had some back and forth in November and a little bit in December, I think, about how to word that and how to come up with something that would allow for an exception for those folks who do use an unlicensed vehicle within the confines of their property for agricultural use. This change came on the heels of the state of New York actually going backwards in some respects. And when I say backwards, it's not to be upon you. We were down to one vehicle, and they went to 0 vehicles. Am I getting this right? They went to no vehicles and then went back to allowing for 2 vehicles. So we don't want any unlicensed vehicles on residential, especially in residential areas. And whether it's behind the property, in front of the property, if you're behind the property, your neighbors are seeing it. If it's in front of the property, obviously, if you have a vehicle that's covered, that's an antique, you have it covered. You have it inside a structure of some kind. That's not relative here. Some folks were questioning that. That's not relevant here. This is strictly for that. And as far as painting of vehicles or maintenance of vehicles, again, in business areas where you have, where you have allowed uses for that, and where you have a spray booth that is licensed by the state, if you will, that's fine. But not outdoors, not in your own garage, not in your backyard. Okay. So we're trying to, and hopefully put a stop to all those kinds of things that go on periodically in the town. This will give our code enforcement and then, ultimately law enforcement a means to prosecute people that are repeat offenders. So, anyone else on 4519? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 4519 passes. Resolution 4619.
Declare the town board as lead agency, authorize the supervisor to issue a negative declaration, and authorize the town planner to prepare, file, publish, and distribute all documents necessary to comply with NYCRR Part 617 and State Environmental Quality Review relative to the proposed purchase of a plus or minus 8.2 acres of property for a highway garage, salt storage shed, and a compost transfer facility.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Signor, is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Miller Herrera. Anyone on the question?
Mr. Supervisor, I just want to confirm that by voting in favor of this, that does not necessarily mean that this is the final site plan, or that, you know, that the proposed site plan we saw tonight is locked in stone, correct? Or does it?
Ms. McGurl, I'm afraid to answer that question. Anything could be changed.
Well, you're declaring lead agency for the purposes of environmental review,
so,
so
okay.
you have to do that
So-
if you want to move forward.
So when I say I'm afraid to answer that question, is that we have a proposal that was shown to us here this evening.
Correct.
Anything that we would do, you know, henceforth, okay? If there are changes made, everybody on this board needs to know, the public needs to know what it is that we're doing. But here, we're taking the action
On the for environmental issues.
for seeker.
Okay.
Okay? So we're gonna send it out to everybody, agent, right, and let them know what we're doing, and they're going to tell us what it is that they would like to see, different or otherwise, or not make any comments at all. Okay. Okay, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll on 4619?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 4619 passes. Resolution 4719,
Authorize the supervisor to execute an amended contract with CT Mail Associates, 50 Century Hill Lane, or Drive, Latham, New York, 12110, to include professional services related to the water damage to the mechanical and electrical systems at the Rotterdam Senior Center in an amount not to exceed $4,600.
okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Ms. Miller Herrera, is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, this is just for the public's understanding here. This resolution has to do with furthering our work at the senior center after our flooding incident there in last year in August. When they went through and made an assessment of the mechanicals and electrical systems, we need to ensure that as we proceed to do other structural work to the building, floor to floor, that we don't, I'm going to say shortcut or do anything that would, once we finish the walls, finish the flooring, and then find out later on that if we had taken just a few extra steps, that there were a few things that we overlooked. So CT Mail in their efforts to assist the town, because they are doing architectural and structural, they're folks who are mechanical and electrical experts are going to come in and assess what's there. That it just, like most old school buildings, they're add-ons. In other words, there's an original building there that's 100 years old, and there were a couple of additions made afterwards. So all these systems were one way or another, pieced in together or not. And so as we move forward, we want to take our best efforts here and put this building in a position where it'll last for decades to come and not be shorting the future, if you will. So, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll on 47?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 4719 passes. Resolution 4819,
Authorize the supervisor to sign any and all documentation that may become necessary as a result of the New York State Department of Transportation construction, reconstruction, or improvement of pavement corrective maintenance as it relates to the town of Rotterdam.
okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christo, is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Ms. Miller Herrera. Okay, anyone on the question? Okay, just again for the public, this has to do with the area known as Five Corners to repair and adjust, if you will, not just the roadways there, but any water and sanitary sewer and other infrastructure that's in the roads. And so hopefully we'll see some improvements there along those lines and widen some things out a little bit there as well. And more to come on that also. So we have a motion by Mr. Christo and a second by Ms. Miller Herrera. Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 4819 passes. Resolution 4919.
Authorize the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Shellmont Central School District located at Forest Saver Drive, Schenectady, New York, 12306, and Mahoneson Central School District located at 2072 Curry Road, Schenectady, New York, 12303, to staff a school resource officer, SRO, for their school resource program.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christo. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Just on the question, I want to thank both school districts, but also want to commend our police department, particularly the SROs that they go to the schools every day. They do a great job, and I'm very thankful for our ability to continue this program. Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
And Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 4919 passes. Resolution 5019.
Authorize the supervisor to enter into a contract with International Database Corporation doing business as BidNet, located at 15 British American Boulevard, Latham, New York, 12110, for web-based solicitation and bidding services.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Miller Herrera. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Signor. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Mark, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
I'm going to vote no, and I'll explain my vote. Everyone knows, well, not everyone knows, I'm a local business owner, and I'm well aware of BidNet because I'll have people soliciting bids to tell me to go to BidNet. Our requests are posted on BidNet, and it leaves you out there competing against companies that do business in states where the overhead is not as excessive as in New York State. So BidNet has and will save municipalities a lot of money, but to what cost of local businesses? Local businesses, as I said, are burdened with the excessive cost of doing business in New York State and our county. The use of BidNet will contribute to sending more local and state dollars out of the area and out of the state to businesses that do not support our local economy or our state. Businesses are burdened with the high cost of doing business in New York State and then penalized because their prices reflect the excessive overhead of being in business in New York State, so I vote no.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
4 yes, 1 no.
Okay, resolution 5019 passes. Resolution 5119.
Authorize the supervisor to enter into contract with Charter Communications Operating LLC for internet and phone services at the Rotterdam Senior Center, 2639 Hamburg Street, and the Rotterdam Wastewater Treatment Plant, 26 West Campbell Road.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Christo. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Gutierrez. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 5119 passes. Resolution 5219.
Authorize the supervisor to sign an amended certificate of limited partnership with both Rotterdam Housing Group LP and Rotterdam Partners Limited Partnership to consent to the change in the partners of the existing partnerships.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Okay, motion by Mr. Christo. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Sigmore. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christo?
Yes.
Mr. Gitterelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 5219 passes. Resolution 5319.
Authorize the supervisor to enter into a contract with Collar City Auctions Realty and Management Incorporated, located at 9423 Western Turnpike, Delancey, New York, 12053, for auctioneer and related services for a 3-year period commencing January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2021, to auction all equipment and materials declared obsolete by the Rotterdam Town Board.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Guidarelli. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Mr. Christou. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Resolution 5319 passes. Resolution 5419.
Accept town clerk's report for the month of January 2019.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Ms. Miller Herrera. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
A second by Mr. Christou. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Rivera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 5419 passes. Resolution 5519.
Authorize budget transfers by the town controller to various accounts for 2018.
Okay, may I have a motion, please?
I'll move.
Motion by Mr. Signor. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Ms. Miller Herrera. Anyone on the question? Okay, Ms. Marco, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Christou?
Yes.
Mr. Guidarelli?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller Herrera?
Yes.
Mr. Signor?
Yes.
Mr. Thomason?
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, resolution 5519 passes. Excuse my voice. Anyone have committee reports or miscellaneous this evening?
I miscellaneous.
Please.
Thank you. For everyone out there in the audience and watching us on public access, Schenectady County now offers the option for residents to sign up for a system called Rapid Notify, also known as RAVE, R-A-V-E, by entering their contact information at https://www.schenectadycounty, all one word, .com/rapid notify. Rapid Notify is a system that will quickly notify those who are registered of emergency situations that arise in the community. Those registered for the system will then receive a telephone call, text message, and/or email which will provide useful information. Residents may also visit www.rotterdamny.org and www.rotterdampd.com and follow the links for Rapid Notify to register. How you doing, Ms. Mark? Was that good?
I think you did good.
Thank you, Ms. Mark.
You didn't miss it.
I didn't miss an S. Did you see that? I didn't miss an S?
And so the link for us, for the town website, the RotterdamNY.org, is at the very bottom of the page on the left side, so that you're not searching all over for it. It's right at the bottom. Please avail yourself of that. So if there's ever any flooding, anything that happens in the town that may be of concern to you or not, you will be notified, and I think that's a good thing. When we had the flooding the other night over on 5S last Friday, of course I knew that it was happening. I didn't know exactly how far down it was. I thought I might be able to make it across, and I didn't. The Rotterdam Volunteer Fire Company in Pattersonville, everybody was out there doing their work. They blocked off the area. And I just go back around and hit Route 5. But as I got to Route 5 in Glenville, the water was just starting to come up onto the eastbound lanes there of 5. And I said, I might make it there and not make it home. But I did, like everybody else did, thankfully. But our thanks to the fire companies, to our police department, and our county emergency management, anyone else that was involved at night. But that's why this is important. So please avail yourself of the service, and because it doesn't cost you anything, just go on there and put your information in. Anyone else have any committee reports or other information they'd like to bring up tonight? No? Okay. Okay, let's, may I have a motion for adjournment, please?
I'll move.
Motion for adjournment by Mr. Signor. Is there a second?
I'll
please?
second.
Second by Mr. Christou. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, thank you very much for coming this evening. Our meeting is closed, is adjourned.